Hi everyone, this is Elizabeth with 217 Creations, and today I'm going to show you how I created these really gorgeous glazed 3D flowers. I call them like Faux Cabochon flowers because they remind me so much of the vintage gemstone carved flowers that you see from the 20s, 30s, 40s. Just absolutely beautiful. I love them so much, and these are so simple to make. I'm going to show you a couple projects here that I've made them for. This is from an altered frame that I did, but as you can see, I did little ones here. Aren't those just fabulous? They look so great. They add a lot of a dimension. And this is for my latest project. This is actually a card that I just finished, and I absolutely love how it turned out. The cuts are all from Bloom Cricut Light cartridge. The sentiment says, friends are flowers in the garden of life, and is from Pink by Design Stamps. Life's a garden is the sentiment that comes from the collection. So absolutely love how these turned out, and I'm going to show you how to make them. They're very easy to do. You're going to need either a quilling tool, or in this case I'm using the petal roller from Imaginess. I love it because it's got a little stylus on one side, and to me this tool is a little bit easier to use than a traditional quilling tool. It's not quite as thin and flexible, so for me it's a little bit easier to maneuver the cardstock. You're also going to need a scallop cut. This one I've already kind of cut the spiral. I'll talk to you about that in a second. Either from a punch, or in this case these are cut from my Cricut Imagine, but any number of Cricut cartridges have scallops, and there's lots and lots of punches out there that are scallop shape. So what you're going to do is cut or punch your scallop. Then you're going to take your straight edge scissors, or you could use decorative edge. I just don't have them anymore since I don't use them. And cut your scallop into a spiral. So it looks like this. Then what you're going to do is take your quilling tool, and in this case, like I said, I'm using the Imaginess paddle roller, and you're going to feed the end into the slot, and then you're going to start quilling it. As you can see, it doesn't take long for the flower to form. Now you could leave these flowers as is once they're done quilling. And you can pull it off. You could leave these as is, just like that. If you wanted to put a little bit of adhesive on the side and stick them on your layout or your card or your altered art. I'm going to show you how to take this a couple steps further to create something a little more unique. And so what we're going to do from here is you're going to kind of slightly unroll the quilling you just did and crinkle it up. If you've watched my other YouTube videos or follow my blog at all, you know how much I love vintage and tattered looking stuff, and I love the look that I get from this. So from here you can still kind of see the spiral still in the shape of the paper. So I'm going to leave my center, and I'm just going to roll this up by hand. Except this time when I'm rolling it, I'm going to kind of start bending the paper just a little bit. I'm hoping you can see this on the video. So I'm kind of creating almost like petals. And because we pre-quilled this, it's so much easier to wrap this flower than if we had not done the first round of quilling. This would be really difficult to do. But because the paper still kind of holds on to that shape from that quilling tool, this goes a lot easier. Okay. So I've got my flower put back together, and as you can see, I already like the better look of that. It's got that more tattered kind of look to it, as opposed to something like this. You can kind of see the difference, hopefully in the video there. But love how that turns out. You could, once again, from here, just glue this and leave it as is, or you could add additional layers, which is how I created these larger ones, is I added additional layers to make them bigger. So I'm going to show you how I did that. I already quilled a couple of these, so I'm going to pull them out to the end of the scallop. I'm going to cut, and you can either save that or toss it to the side. I probably won't use it for much. From here we're going to take a little bit of adhesive, and what I like to use is Beacon's 3-in-1. This is like one of my favorite adhesives. And I just kind of put it onto a scrap piece of paper. This works really well for me because I feel like I can get into the paper a little bit better and just put a little bit on there. The nice thing is if you let that adhesive sit out for just a little bit before you try and put it on, it'll stick much better. So from here we're going to put your next rim on, and once again we're going to do the bending. And more bending. And you could keep adding layer upon layer. The large blue one and the large pink one, I think I did like 4 layers on there. But it's up to you, however many you want to do. Okay. So there is the base of the flower. You can kind of take your fingers and bend those petals outward. I need to get a little more adhesive, I think, on there. Okay. There we go. Okay. So you can just take them, start bending those petals outward, and it really starts expanding the flower. Okay, so now that we've done that, now you're going to come in with the glossy accents. Love this stuff. You could also use the matte accents. They're both from Ranger, both some of my favorite products. I keep one in my toolkit that has the narrow tip on it still, and in this case I've trimmed, I hope you can see it, I've trimmed the narrow off because I need it to come out a little faster and thicker. Glossy accents always starts milky, and then once it dries, it's crystal clear. So I'm going to bring this up, and I just keep an old paintbrush specifically for this because it pretty much is like an adhesive and a lacquer, and so it will ruin a paintbrush. So don't use a fancy paintbrush. Don't ruin lots of paintbrushes. I just kind of keep one on hand, and even though it turns hard, it still works for getting the glaze on there. And so you're going to cover the entire flower. And your fingers are going to get messy, but to me this is the fun of art. Okay, so I've got that peeled. Now you're going to be able to notice right away that the flower is much, much more pliable, and the paper moves a little bit more. And so from here you can really fan out the flower's petals. And if you don't put it on too thick, it should dry in about 15-20 minutes. And what you'll get when it's done is this. And you can see it's nice and hard, and it's got a great dimension to it. So I hope you found that tutorial helpful and useful and can find projects to put those pretty flowers on. Once again, I appreciate all your comments, and I love followers and subscribers. If you're interested in seeing more details about this project or this project, they're both on my blog at www.217creations.blogspot.com. Thanks guys, have a great day.